Ladies and gents, welcome to CG Reactions, and this is the SCP Foundation and its many horrors explained SCP Lore by channel Eckhart's Ladder. I reacted to SCP explained by infographics, and people are like, that's the worst video I could react to, so somebody sent me this video that this is the good one, so I'm gonna react to this one. I also reacted to SCP Overlord, apparently a fan-made SCP, not a video, I would call it a movie because it's a movie. Even though it's a fan made, it's very professional, it's just awesomely made. I reacted to that, it was more than expected, so it's great. SCP, first time I reacted to SCP Foundation explained infographics. That's the first video I reacted to about SCP. I didn't know what SCP was. I thought it was some kind of a real world thing, some military organization or something, like let's see what it is. But then I saw it's a fictional thing. First few minutes I'm like, okay, what the hell's happening? This can't be real. And then I'm like, okay, this is not real. I never reacted to any topic that I have literally no knowledge about, and SCP, I had no knowledge about that when I reacted to that first video. But then I slowly understand, this is fan created fictional stories about something. SCP is basically Men in Black inspired thing where SCP just eliminates or contains lots of things that are not natural to this world to protect the world. Apparently they kill lots of innocent people to protect the world because they are good guys in their way. It's very gray area thing. So I'm loving it. I love any story and any lore that is really deep and branches out to really different areas. It has really different genres that it extends to with every other case, and it's just awesome. I just started to barely understand what SCP is. I have not reacted to many things. I just reacted to two videos. One is SCP explained by infographics, and other is Overlord movie. There is no other video I've seen about SCP, so I literally have no knowledge about this. But slowly I'm going to check it out one by one because I am fascinated by this. So yeah, let's watch this video.
The SCP Foundation is an organization which catalogs, secures, and studies thousands of beings, artifacts, phenomena, and more, many of which are extra-dimensional, extraterrestrial, or just beyond human understanding. SCP refers to the Foundation's three main mission objectives: to secure, to contain, and to protect. However, the initialism has a second meaning: special containment procedures, which are the methods used to keep the various things within the Foundation from escaping or causing damage. Today, we'll explore the basic lore of the SCP Foundation and take a closer look at 4 phenomena. Hey guys, this is Eckhart's Ladder. Hello and welcome to something a little bit different. We've never covered anything like the SCP Foundation on this channel. However, you guys have
SCP-990, what is this? This is just nuclear blast. Okay, there's probably more to it and I don't realize.
Do so since I started covering non-Star Wars content, and yesterday's vote was pretty clear. Now, there are several dedicated SCP lore channels on YouTube, so I thought it'd be fun if instead of doing a deep dive on a single SCP story, we took a more high-level approach, introducing the site from an out-of-universe perspective while also looking at the in-universe lore. At the end, we'll also take a closer look at 4 individual SCPs. Now, I'm not an expert on the SCP universe, I don't know every article, but I have spent many nights reading through the website, especially when I was an after-hours security guard during law school, which was pretty creepy. On a basic level, the SCP Foundation is essentially a collaborative wiki, where users are continually adding new stories that fit within the universe. Individual wiki articles usually detail some manner of creature or phenomenon, while also talking about the security procedures used to contain it. Due to the fact that individual entries are often disturbing, strange, or bizarre, the website is almost like a heavily curated creepypasta wiki. However, the Foundation itself serves as a common element between these stories, making the whole thing a work of collaborative fiction with even an element of community-generated lore. In universe, the SCP Foundation does not have a real ongoing narrative besides that found within individual articles. That being said, individual SCPs often reference other pages, helping to sort of tie the universe together. What's more, most articles have several
That's the best thing about this, that every case is different, so anybody can come up with these things, and some of the people obviously are fan of SCP, so they've probably read other SCPs, so they can just basically tie in together these things to create a gigantic lore of a world. I love this. Every case is somehow connected to this foundation. Somebody could make a TV show movie out of this, man. I think in future somebody will. I feel like this is gonna kick off, and in some few years people like someone's going to approach somebody who has the rights to this and will make a TV show out of this at least.
common features, including the use of redactions, eyewitness testimony, security protocols, object classification, and more. Often articles will have addendums, additions, or project tapes, which provides a sort of timeline-based narrative. Before we dig deep into a few articles to show you guys what I mean, let's first take a look at some of the lore that does exist. The SCP Foundation is a global initiative with the ultimate goal of preventing humanity from slipping into the darkness from which we emerged. For this reason, although the Foundation is definitely cold and lives are often disposed without second thought, the SCP Foundation does have an ultimately positive goal. That being said, it's certainly not benevolent, and the Foundation itself, as well as its employees, often engage in immoral and sometimes even evil behavior, though still dedicated to the protection of humanity. So here's the Foundation's mission statement. Operating clandestine and worldwide, the Foundation operates beyond jurisdiction, empowered and entrusted by every major national government with the task of containing anomalous objects, entity, and phenomena. These anomalies pose a significant threat to global security by threatening either physical or psychological harm. The Foundation operates to maintain normalcy so that worldwide civilian populations can live and go on with their daily lives without fear, mistrust, or doubt in their personal beliefs, and to maintain human independence from extraterrestrial, extra-dimensional, and other extra-normal influence. So the Foundation deals with anomalies and attempts to protect humanity from them, whether through containment, destruction, or at the very least understanding. Each anomaly is assigned a special containment procedure, i.e. how it must be handled in order to maintain safety. The anomalies are thus often referred to as SCP and a number, for example SCP-001. Many anomalies require little maintenance, and some can even be left out in the public, while others can only be accessed by the highest level of SCP employees and must be secured, for example, underground within meters of concrete. The Foundation has dozens, if not hundreds of facilities, including some that are sub-ocean and at least one on the moon. SCPs are given a classification level. On one hand, we have safe objects, which present little risk of escape. On the other hand, we have Keter objects, which are both almost impossible to contain and represent a major threat to human life or sometimes the fabric of space or time. Notably, an object being safe does not mean that it's not dangerous, it just means that there's little risk of it escaping its containment. Access to objects is based on employee clearance level, which is ranked from 0 to 5, with level 5 employees having access to not only the most dangerous or difficult to contain SCPs, but also ones which can provide the most benefit, either in somehow counteracting another SCP or providing a tangible benefit to the user, for example, pills which heal all maladies. Additionally, employees are given roles from field aid.
Yeah, that pill thing is ridiculous, man. There are what, 47? What? How many he said? There's only that pills left. And that pill can cure anything. But since people would, just try to kill each other while obtaining that pill, since it's very little, it's secure, so nobody try to take it. But isn't it better to cure whatever small amount of people, just selecting them and just curing them rather than not curing at all? It just feels weird to me. SCP can decide who to cure, who to not cure. At least that would be better than not curing anybody at all and just hoarding that pill.
Agent or scientist to expendable Class D personnel, who are often death row felons. To protect the facilities or neutralize rogue SCPs, dozens of task forces with the power of small armies have also been created. So that's the basic lore around the Foundation itself, but let's look at some specific anomalies as well as their SCPs. Again, their containment procedures. I've selected 4, which I think give a good overview of some of the different types of anomalies contained by the Foundation. The ones I've selected are also not very complicated. Many SCPs are in video form or have pages of background information, which is a bit much for this video. Let's start with the first SCP ever created and probably the most.
Can you make these arts any more creepier? God damn, man. I did not see this coming, like it's gonna be this creepy.
Famous SCP-173. 173 is a creation of unknown origin, made of rebar and concrete. The object appears stationary when gazed upon, but if not being looked at, will kill anyone in the vicinity, breaking their neck. Alongside that, the object inexplicably oozes feces and blood. The containment protocol requires that 173 be kept within a locked concrete box at all points, and if entry into the room is required, there are to be at least 3 employees making eye contact. For a single employee, even blinking or looking away for half a second would prove deadly. Next up is SCP-173.
Okay, that's SCP-173. Man, that thing is really creepy, made of concrete and whatever, rebar, whatever he said. If you look at it, it won't move. If you just, look away from it, you're dead. Oh my god, that's just concept of it just so creepy. God, this is what happens when people have lots of, ideas and they just have a platform to take it, get it all out. That's how the comics were created back when. Nowadays you have internet, you don't need comics, you can just create something like this. I love it. It's so good.
3, which is probably my favorite of them all. On its face, 1733 is pretty simple. It's a DVR containing a digital recording of the 2010 NBA season opener between the Miami Heat and the Boston Celtics. The recording, however, doesn't contain the game as it actually happened. It diverges, at the beginning only in small ways, such as point differences. However, as the recording is watched and restarted, the players begin to develop an awareness of their existence, that the game has happened before. This first manifests in announcers developing a sense of intense deja vu, and the players being able to adapt to opponent strategy. But as the tape is rewatched, things just get worse. By viewing 45, the players are unable to score on each other. By 51, serious fighting in the stands has occurred. As the arena realizes they can't escape, they attempt to knock down the doors before devolving into further hedonistic and violent acts. An unknown playback sees LeBron James and Paul Pierce ritualistically sacrificed. Eventually, the lights within the arena turn to a deep red color, and any data after that point has been removed. Because the SCP is just a DVR, the containment process is pretty simple. It's locked away in a digital archive. However, Foundation members are also monitoring the internet to look for any mention of the tape. A similar SCP shows a speech given by Ronald Reagan where he is
What the hell, man? A weird groundhog tape for those people. A small holographic universe inside the DVR. That's just effed up, man.
slowly tortured and maimed while discussing suicide, child abuse, cannibalism, and more. As the speech goes on, he sometimes offers prophetic visions of the future, before eventually being brutally killed. Another commonly loved SCP is SCP-87, which is simply a stairway. To contain it, this strange stairway was disguised as a janitor's closet and closed off with an impenetrable door. So, upon entering the staircase, one hears the cries of a child below them. However, the stairs descend seemingly indefinitely and are impossible to light. The Foundation has sent several teams to attempt to reach the bottom. The first descended for about 30 minutes before developing a real sense of unease. Soon after, they discovered a motionless human face, though lacking nostrils and pupils. The face, and presumably the body it was attached to, was aware of the worker and eventually jerked towards it, causing the subject to flee. The second expedition yielded similar results, though this time, upon exiting, the employee entered a catatonic state from which they did not awaken. The third subject managed to get even deeper, several hundred flights down, discovering a dark hole, kilometers deep, which itself seemed to be infinite. They were apparently killed by that creature who had been following them for some time. A fourth, likely more militarized expedition was launched. However, due to the results of this final exploration, no personnel are permitted access to the files. On a completely different note, SCP-294 is a coffee machine.
Do you want me to have nightmare? What the hell was that? That was so simplistic yet so horrifying. God damn.
In a personnel break room. It is a source of seemingly unlimited liquids, dispensed upon a person inserting 50 cents and choosing what they'd like to receive. This includes everything from beer to liquid nitrogen. However, there is a dangerous potential here. A cup of joe, once expelled not coffee, but a collection of blood and tissue from a worker named Joe. Other strange creations, including drinks with
Oh my god. Oh my god. So this is like that genie thing. Be careful how you use your words and how you use your phrase. Somebody asked for a cup of joe thinking it would be coffee. The machine literally gave them a cup of joe with the blood in it. Oh my god. That's heavy, that's heavy.
Which triggered memories or feelings, and even one which removed the leukemia from a patient, dispensing it in liquid form. There are actually many similarly helpful or at least neutral SCPs, which are typically guarded fairly heavily. Briefly, two others that I like are SCP-1562, an interdimensional slide, which ejects the user into some sort of cave system where they're unable to even move, and 2624, which is about the ghost of friendly space dogs, I guess. Many anomalies are incredibly disturbing. They're everything from violent humanoids to angry stars which are slowly approaching Earth, to phenomenon, ghosts, aliens, haunted objects, and even a rock, which makes any user holding it procrastinate. But the best way to experience the lore of SCP is not by watching videos, but going on the site and just reading. Hit random article and see what comes up, or sort by all time and see some user favorites like the ones I talked about today. If there are any SCPs that you guys would really like to see me cover on the channel, feel free to let me know either in this video or in the future, but unless there's something I find really interesting, I'm not sure if that's the kind of content that will appear on the channel. Anyway, this video has already ran super long, so no question and answer for today. If you guys did enjoy though, make sure to leave a like, subscribe, and of course, let me know what you'd like to see next.
Some of the mods are extremely creepy, man. Damn, SCP universe is really dark and horror filled, huh? This video was more focused on horror type of things rather than some interesting things. Some of them were interesting things like that coffee machine type of thing, whatever that was. But mostly was just horror related things that was just damn creepy, especially the stare thing. Just a face out of the darkness looking at you while the stare just continuously go down. Oh my god, just thought of them. This will definitely give me nightmares. Alright people, if you like my reaction, don't forget to like and subscribe. And if you want me to react to more SCP videos, comment down and I'll see you next time.